Hello viewers, welcome to SAT Prep Class with Mr. David. It's been a while and I hope you enjoy the series of videos I've uploaded in the past. For my wonderful subscriber, it is intentional, like I told you, just to see you get your 800 in mathematics and then be the best of your kind. Strategy to make you get it done in good time is always what we discuss here. Today we're looking at interpreting linear models on SAT, and our objective is just to how to interpret this model and how to solve SAT related questions on it. First instance is for you to always turn every equation to a slope-intercept form. Before now, we know our slope to be, our m to be slope in this equation. But now we're going to see this same m, which is our slope, as changes, because we want to interpret it. And changes can be in two categories, increase or decrease ball. The first one is what we're going to look at, increase. So meaning anytime I see increase in a equation or changes, I know what they are talking about as the slope. And after writing every equation in this form, I can deduce my slope, which is m. For instance, if I have a situation of a guy, this is the amount being paid for working for 8 hours in an organization. SAT can ask you to tell the meaning of 8, the meaning of 10, the meaning of H, the meaning of 50, or rather they can combine stuff like this together. Again, I said A is the amount that the guy earned after working for H hours. So meaning H is the number of hours, while the 10 there, if you liken it to y equal to ms plus b, you can tell that is a slope. Like I said, it's no longer called slope, but rather we call it changes. And changes in this case belong to the first category, which is increase. I define this increase or positive slope as the increase in y. Take note, for every 1 unit increase in x, increase in y for every 1 unit increase in x. B is your y-intercept. What we know as y-intercept, which can also be called initial, original. There are different synonyms that SAT can use to, express their B, which is y-intercept. Initial, original, what you have at first. Just read the model and be sure you can attach everywhere to each number there. And in this case, my 50 here is like the initial amount that the guy has before even working. And if I combine the two together, that's more like if they ask you what is the increase in what the guy will earn for after working for 2 hours. The increase for working for 2 hours will now be 10 times what? 2, which is what? $20. And what is the amount that the guy will earn after working for what will be the amount the guy will have after working for what? 2 hours. Then that's the only reason when you will add this $50 to it, making 70. So in summary, when they're asking for increase, your y-intercept is irrelevant. You only make reference to y-intercept if they're asking for the total amount and for 2 hours. I hope the intro is clear. I won't talk more on the when it is negative. Negative is also changes. This time around, we call it a decrease. So when you see the word decrease, you know they are referring to the slope that you know before now. and then the b is still the same y-intercept. Notice the changes here too is the decrease in y for every 1 unit increase in x. So for both negative slope or positive slope, they are always change in y for every 1 unit increase in your x value. Thank you. And I think we are good to go. And the only point that you need to pay attention to is the slide that I said when it comes to changes. The y-intercept is irrelevant, so always cross it out. We'll see how we can apply this in the subsequent slide. Question 1. The total cost in dollars to rent a surfboard consists of $25 service fee and a $10 per hour rental fee. So there is a fixed charge which is $25 plus, and that's the word N, for $10 per hour. So in the question we're told that the R, let's use H for now. A person rent a surfboard for T hours, so we're going to change the H to T hours, and then they went further and said, and intend to spend a maximum, so there is a maximum of 75, meaning it can't go beyond that. So what will our inequality sign will be less than or equal to what? 75, and that's the equation. So the only one that model all of these is D. And I'm using method of elimination. Since we know that 25 is a fixed charge, then easily you can remove this. There is no expression of 25 here, and then this is out. So you can also use method of elimination to remove all of this from your answer. Moving on to question 2. A teacher is creating an assignment worth 70 points. That's a total. So all of them have 70, so I can't take anything out from there. The assignment consists of question worth 1 point and question worth 3 points. Which equation represent the situation where x represents 1 point, x represents 1 point, so I have just x, and then y represents 3 points, that's 3y, and equal to 70. And the only option that carries this is what? E. The answer is Z. Question 3. A neighborhood consists of 2 hectares of park and 35 hectares of residential area. So we have park and residential area. The total number of trees in the neighborhood is 3,930. For the equation 2x plus 35 equals to 3,934 represent this situation. Don't forget, this number represents total number of trees. Which of the following is the best interpretation of x in this context? So we're looking for the value of x, and x is attached to 2, so I know I'm looking for any expression that has to do with park. So if I see anything resident, you strike it out. So D is out of it. It doesn't make sense. Also B is out of it. So your answer is between A and C. You have used method of elimination to eliminate B and D. So you're left with A and C. Now, together, this is like the total number of 2 hectares. And they're asking for just X. So I can't pick anything that has to do with total in this contest. So if I can't pick anything that has to do with total in this contest, then I can strike out option C. Then A is the right answer, which is the average number of 3 hectares in the park. Moving on to question 4. We have 3,000 piece rectangular jigsaw puzzle has 216 edges pieces. Should be X, 300 pieces, and the rest are inside pieces. The equation is 48R plus 216 equal to 3,000. Describe the situation where I represent the number of rows that contain inside pieces. So R contain inside pieces. Alright, which of the following bears interpret the word 48R in the context? 48R, and again, don't forget I underline R, which represent the number of rows that contain inside pieces. So I'm looking for inside, and this stand tall. This is out. This is R, and there are 48 pieces in a row. This is out because we're looking for inside, so this is the keyword, and then D is the answer. Boom. Moving on to the next question, question 5. A helicopter initially hovering 40 feet above the ground, that's the initial. So with that statement alone, I can cancel option D. Why? Because that's the initial. But yeah, it's telling us like is the increase of the changes. So this is out. Begin to gain altitude at the rate of 21 feet per second. So gain, because of this negative, this is out. So my answer is between A and B. I would have picked A if it's just for 1 second. But yeah, we're told that if you read further, T seconds after T seconds, after the helicopter begins to gain altitude, so we have to multiply the 21 feet per T per time, and that is it. So option A is out and B is the right answer. I hope it's clear to us. Thank you. Moving on to question 6. C equal to 75H plus 125. The equation above gave the amount C in dollars. An electrician charges for a job that takes 8 hours. Mrs. Sanchez and Mr. Roland each hired this electrician. The electrician worked 2 hours longer on Mrs. Sanchez's job than on Mr. Roland's job. How much more? The keyword, how much more did electrician charges Mrs. Sanchez than Mr. Roland? And they said 2 hours longer. And for every hour is 75. And 2 hours longer, it will be 75 times 2. And that is what? 150. Boom. The answer is C. So the rest are wrong. Moving on to question 7. A startup company opened with 8 employees. That looked like the initial. The company growth plan assumed that 2 new employees will be hired each quarter. That looked like the increase for the first 5 years. If the equation is written in the form of y equal to ax plus b to represent the number of employees y employed by the company y quarters after the company opened, what is the value of b? So we're looking for b. In the intro, I told you b, which is your y-intercept, to be called the initial, the original, and then looking at the model, we can tell that 8 is actually the initial startup or number of employees. So B here is what? 8. Boom. Next question, we have a startup company open with, I think, the same thing, but this time around they're asking you for the meaning of A. So because they're asking for A, and then if you look at the model, A is, if you liken it with y equal to mx plus b, A is your slope, which we said is the changes, the increase. And what was the increase? We're told that the compounding growth, so growth is another synonyms of what? Increase. Are we good? So the increase is actually 2 new employees. So therefore, A equals to what? 2. Moving on to question 9. The equation above model the time t in seconds it takes to load a web page with X images. Based on the model, by how many seconds does each image increase the load time on a web page? Very easy. Like I said, always represent equation. That's the best way, in the form of y equal to what? Mx plus what? B. So if you do just that, you can distribute this 5 over the 2 numerators so that you have t equal to 2x over 5 plus what? 9 over 5. And then if you liken this, or you write it again as 2 over 5 x and the lone plus 9 over 5, and then liken it to y equal to mx plus b. And they're asking for the increase. That's the keyword in the question. Increase. That's the keyword in the question. Increase. And I told you for increase, just pick your M as your answer. So the increase is actually 2 over 5. Am I communicating? And that is our answer. Next, which is the last question, number 10. The relationship between the daily profit Y in dollars for a bakery and the number of cakes sold by the bakery is graphed above in the XY plane above. Which of the following is the best interpretation of Y-intercept in the context of the problem? So this is the Y-intercept. Look at it. And it's a negative number, negative 600. And we're talking about daily profits on Y-axis and cake on the X-axis. And we're looking at a negative number. And that tells us that, okay, let's eliminate the price of each cake. This is the price of one cake, which is wrong. It can't be the Y-intercept. So this is out. The cost of making each cake, that is not also correct. It can be 600. So this is wrong. The daily cost of running a bakery, and that makes a lot of sense. Meaning you start off a business is not at the initial, you will start making profit. Take for example all the eateries you have there. They spend so much to put all their pastries and what have you together. But it's not the initial time that they will start making profit. All of what they have put together is what we call production cost. So they need to sell some certain number before they can recover all their expenses. And then this is a kind of model to that question. So I'm going to pick C, which is the daily cost of running a bakery is 600. And it's looking like you have to sell almost 5 to recover that. After selling 5, that's when you know you have actually covered for the expenses you have put into the production. Then your gain will start from maybe after selling 6, you can see it now. The profit is now what? 100. But there's no profit even after selling 5. You'll see on 0. So D said the daily cost of making the cake that we're not able to, it doesn't make sense out of the context. And that is it. Hope you enjoy the class. And Thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Bye for now.